Good afternoon. Welcome to daily currency update from the currency desk. Today in the morning session we had a stronger opening for the Indian rupee. Compared to this, on Friday we had some weakness in the Indian rupee, and we saw the Indian rupee depreciate by a nominal 20 to 30 paise. Again, for the current week we can expect the trend to remain downside for the Indian rupee. So in short, we can say that the dollar will appreciate against the Indian rupee. On the Chinese front, there are huge clouds cast over the future outlook. We can see that the inflation data was lower than expected, and currently if we see the annual inflation rate is half of what the Central Bank of Japan was actually targeting. But then a lower inflation rate also suggests that the demand is lower. There is not much growth expectations in the Chinese economy. Also, if we see from another angle, the data like retail sales data and the industrial production data have come in weaker than expected. So all in all, the outlook for the Chinese economy does look bleak. So this again adds to the bearish pressure in the Indian rupee. On the Japanese front, today in the morning session, we had the Japanese GDP data, and the GDP was lower than expected. So the GDP growth was weaker, but then again, we did not see much downside in the Japanese yen. In fact, we didn't see any downside in the Japanese yen, not only against the US dollar, but also against the Indian rupee. The Japanese yen has held strong. And like we say, what doesn't harm you makes you stronger. Similarly, the GDP data, which did not bring in some downside in the Japanese yen, on the contrary, we had an appreciation in the Japanese yen against the Indian rupee as well as the US dollar. On the US front, we have drought scenario. So we have the corn prices continuously going up and creating new highs. So this all in all could trigger a food inflation not only in US but also across the globe. We had the RBI data coming out, according to which in the April-June quarter the RBI has sold dollars worth 2.2 billion. So this indicates that the RBI is trying to control the depreciation in the Indian rupee, but again it has not been much successful in direct intervention in the Indian rupee. So the only positive or the support that we can get for the Indian rupee is from the government in terms of some positive news regarding FDI or any other investment options. So if any such positive news comes out from the government, we could see some appreciation in the Indian rupee, but bearing that, the outlook is negative for the Indian rupee. In UK, we are seeing the signs of growth expectations coming down. We had the producer price inflation which came down and is now showing signs of stabilizing around current levels. So if the inflation is steady or stabilized, there is more room for the Bank of England to bring in some monetary stimulus. As Bank of England indicated last week that it would not opt for an interest rate cut, as the interest rates are already at a lifetime low level. So we could well see some monetary stimulus in some other instrument or in some other manner by the Bank of England, and the lower inflation does give some extra room for implementing such measures. So the investors would be on a lookout for similar indications from the Bank of England. All in all, in today's market session, there are no major data from the international markets except for the German CPI data, which is not expected to have any major impact on the euro. In terms of the yen, the technical trend currently seems to be upside. If the resistance of 70.76 in the spot is broken, one can well initiate a fresh buy position. We recommend a hold short in the euro at current levels with a stop loss of 68.2 in the spot. There's a bearish trend developing in the pound against the Indian rupee. One can hold their short positions with a stop loss of 86.83. In terms of dollar, the current trend seems sideways in the range of 54.95 to 56. So if it is near the support levels, that is 54.95, one can initiate a buy position. If from here on we can see some upside movement in the dollar against the Indian rupee. Thank you.